Just a little recap of what Lottozero is. So we are a creative space and textile laboratory that is located in Prato, Italy, which is one of Europe's most important textile districts, particularly for regenerated wool. It's an interesting space because it's very multi-functional. And in that way, it can be a little bit difficult to define, but it also allows us to carry out um, a lot of different activities that can help to serve our artistic and creative and textile community in different ways through different channels. One of the main, let's say, attractions to an activity like Lottozero is the laboratory space. So within our physical space in Prato, a large portion of it is dedicated to laboratory machinery within the textiles and fashion art space. So we're able to host workshops here, whether it be for private groups or schools or activities that are connected to some of the projects that we participate in. We have some of our machinery, everything from screen printing to sewing to looms, so traditional looms like the wood one here, but also a digital jacquard loom. So the space is always, I think, in a continual state of evolution, um, which I will also be interested to hear a little bit from Tessa and Arianna, how the space has evolved. Next year will be the 10-year anniversary of Lottozero, so it's quite an important milestone for any space, including ours. So we're getting ready to celebrate with that next year, some events coming up. Another thing that we're very passionate about that we try and hope will be useful to our community, not just of people in our physical space in Prato, but also with a larger reach, has to do with a lot of the projects that Lottozero is involved in. And this is kind of multi-level. So we're involved with projects that are local, regional, but also projects that are European, such as Creative Europe and Erasmus, which really focuses on helping to provide different educational services and upskilling services. So we're able to do a lot of activities through these projects that create materials to help serve our community of designers and artists and textile professionals in general. On our website, there's a projects tab. And here you can find all the projects that we've completed or are currently working on, and all of the free resources that are included in these projects. Most of them have to do with sustainability in some way or another, which is really a core value of this activity. This Meet the Founders event tonight is a part of the W4Tex Project. So this is a 2-year project that we've been working on that is really dedicated to female entrepreneurship, females in managerial positions within textile and fashion companies. I think many of us are familiar with the fact that females are underrepresented at the higher tiers of a lot of industry, and fashion and textiles is no exception. While there are a lot of women working in this industry, there's still very few in higher up positions. So this project helps to develop a platform and training courses that are dedicated to managerial competencies for women and also sustainable leadership, because numbers show that female leaders are actually a driving force for companies adopting sustainability practices. So female leadership is a big pool of potential for the sustainable shift within the fashion and textiles industry, and the W4Tex project is all about that. So in the context of this project, and today being Female Entrepreneurship Day, we wanted to take an opportunity to have a little bit of an exchange with you. Nothing too formal, but we really want to have a conversation. So I'm going to ask first Tessa and Arianna if they'll talk a little bit about how Lottozero started, what was their experience in journey as female founders. And I encourage anyone to write questions into the chat as they come to you. I will kind of keep an eye out and monitor that. And when we have a good moment, I will pass them to Tessa and Arianna. So feel free to take this opportunity to really kind of pick their brains, find out more about their experience. If you have any questions that maybe something you're interested in working on and they have some experience in, they can kind of help share what they've experienced in that process. So I'm going to pass the torch to Tessa and Arianna, who are actually two sisters and the founders of Lottozero. One last little interesting fact is that we do have two female founders, and Lottozero is a fully female team also. So there's a lot of female energy in our space, and I will pass the torch to them.
Lauren, thank you. Well, first of all, welcome to everyone who is here today. It's really nice that we can have this online session, especially for people who are not in our area. It's an important part of our work that we manage to reach beyond our local community, and it really means a lot to us that we can connect to all of you in different places beyond the borders of the city of Prato.
I was going to let you speak about our humble beginnings and then jump directly to the questions, because I know we already have some that we received online. So
Okay. So yeah, the humble beginnings. As Lauren mentioned, we are soon going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary. So I do have to do a little mental journey back in time. Even though in a way 10 years of activity, they feel long, but at the same time, it feels like a heartbeat. So when you are so dedicated to what you're doing, it's a strange sensation. You're so deeply inside of your mission that time really passes by so quickly, and only by looking back you manage to see all the things that you were able to accomplish and that have happened in the meantime. So when we started, Tessa and I, we were well, it was just the two of us, and we were confronted with this space that we suddenly had, and I think that was the trigger for a lot of fantasies and a lot of dreams that we had in the back of our minds. So the first thing I would say was opportunity or potential. I think that was the way in for us to kind of even be able to imagine what could be and what we wanted to envision for our future. So we were lucky enough to have this space here in Prato, which some of you might have seen live. Maybe you have come here and visited our space. Others might have seen in pictures online. There was not much here. It was a big empty space. But immediately we kind of connected the dots between both our skills and what we were imagining and what we were looking for. So on Tessa's side, there was this long experience working in the creative and cultural industries and facilitating creatives and connecting, making networks and like creating bridges. On my side, there was experience working in research and development and this involvement with the textile industry, but also with young textile creativity in various cities around Europe. So it really blended together. Also, it was 10 years ago, it was the time that maker spaces were coming up and were becoming increasingly popular. So we started also to think about the idea of an open space, a shared space, the idea of creating community. These were all like fairly new concepts that all flowed into our ideation and our conception of Lottozero. In a way, I always like to say, or I like to think that we had like the structure, the skeleton of our idea. We had it in mind pretty early on. So the way we really imagined it to be, with several different activities happening all simultaneously and feeding off each other. So the shared space for creative people to work in and to have residencies here in Prato, but also the collaboration with the textile district and the exchange with the manufacturers and the skills and the know-how in the district. The fact that we would show work from artists, but also designers, and it would be this melting pot of skills and knowledge and information around textiles. The fact that we would have shared workspace and also a strong focus on sharing knowledge and teaching, may it be in form of workshops or teaching lessons in school. So doing international projects and consulting and designing textiles. All of these ideas, they were there actually early on. And then we spent, basically we spent the 10 following years building them and putting them together to finally bring to light what we had imagined in those first days we entered the big empty space here in Prato. So it was really a work of kind of uncovering or making visible what we had in our mind this whole time and bringing it out to the world and being able to empower and enable these projects to share them with our community and with a whole group of textile professionals and textile enthusiasts, not only here in Prato, but everywhere around the world.
Yes, I maybe one thing that we said we were going to do, but I was waiting to find the other video, is we wanted to show you the video of the first Kickstarter that we did. It was, I think, late 2015 that we launched it, and I think I'm just going to show it to you. So hopefully it will all work. I will share my screen. I don't know. I'm gonna go around and being like, can you see what I'm sharing? Okay, so this is not it, but I hopefully will be able.
Hi, I'm Tessa. Hi, I am Arianna. We are the founders of Lottozero. This is our laboratory. Everyone can come to our lab and experiment and sample with textiles. Felting, vaporizing, weaving, printing, heat press, silkscreen printing, dyeing, laser cutting, knitting, crocheting. Come check out our project and our first collection and support us on Kickstarter. Thank you.
So as you can see, at the time, there was absolutely nothing, and it would have to be quite crazy to go into an empty space with that booming sound, that mold on the wall, and imagine all these things that one day, maybe luckily, if we were lucky, would be there. But yeah, so we did that. And then years later, in the fall of last year, we finally were able to create the response video to that video, where we actually showed the spaces that had become what we had planned them to become at the time. I'm actually looking for that video right now. Okay, I have it here. I will share my screen again, and then I will stop showing you videos, I promise. There we go. Okay, let me see if I can figure this out. This was just on the, oof, Let's see, how do I get
I
this?
think on the bottom of the screen there.
Ah, that's why I don't see it. Yes, perfect. Thank you, Lauren.
Here.
There we go.
Felting, weaving, printing, heat press, silkscreen printing, dyeing, knitting, crocheting. Can you believe we did everything we told you we were gonna do and even more? Come, follow me into the lab. We have the weaving, the knitting, the sewing, embroidery, the printing, the tufting, the heat press, the color kitchen. And follow me, we're going to the digital part. We're the first in Italy to have the TC2 digital jacquard loom. And here we have our own, very own Female Textile spinning machine. Thank you.
So yeah, you still have the same sound, but no more mold on the walls and the things that we've talked about, they were actually there this time. So we were very excited to show that the crazy idea had really had come to realization. Okay, I think that's it for me. Maybe we can go to the questions. I don't know.
Yes, if anyone has a question, they can feel free to put it in the chat, or you can turn on your mic and ask. Maybe I'll start actually, because this is a question that I get asked a lot about Lottozero from other people, in particular, like other creative hubs or creative activities. In the two videos, there's a really big difference, just with the physical space and all of the machinery. I think for a lot of people who are thinking about starting an activity, one of the kind of scariest things and biggest questions is, like, how do you get started being able to fund an activity? Like, from the very initial stages, like, where do you start doing something like that to be able to grow? Like, what was your, I guess, experience like in the very initial phases, getting this kind of off the ground?
Should I start, Arianna, or?
Sure.
Okay, so I think people, when they see a space like Lottozero, they think it was built in a day, right? They think that we came in there, the day we opened, we had everything and that's it. So but we all don't tend to understand is that every little thing is a small piece, a small little Lego piece that slowly gets brought together. And that sometimes you have to stay a long time. And we were there for a long time with just like 4 sewing machines that weren't even plugged in. They weren't even all working, but we had them. So they were just sitting there without, a wall and without any of the material you see today. And we were calling it this, and we were inviting people, and we were doing what we could do at the time. And in fact, one of our Google reviews is like, it's a very empty space, but yeah, they have a vision. So I think people just tend to think that everything is quite easy and it goes very quickly, whereas the result of the machines that you saw in that last video, which was maybe exactly a year ago, autumn 2024, is 10 years worth of work, where every little piece has come together and and came to our lab in a variety of different ways. I'm going to let Arianna talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a very organic process. And I think, in a way, in every profession, at least I feel like I learned in these 10 years, but also before that, that perseverance is really the one thing that you kind of need to maintain throughout, because if you don't have this patience to wait for things to evolve at the pace that you can afford for them to evolve in, then of course it's going to be very difficult. And yeah, sometimes it costs a lot of effort to accept the fact that things evolve slowly. But I also really believe in it, because to build things slowly, step by step, means that you are working on something on the long term, and you are creating something that is there to stay. So I really believe in that. And also, it kind of helps you get a better overview of things. I couldn't have never imagined to do things in the same way if I had had a time window of 6 months. That would have probably made a lot of mistakes, and I would have not taken decisions that I would have been happy with in the long term. So also the slowness of things, it's really the time that you need to allow for things to evolve in a good way. Oh,
Sorry, here I am. So we have a question in the chat, and this says, you mentioned discarded wool. Can you tell us more about that? Where does it come from? Is it virgin wool or recycled wool? Both? Do you work with Italian shepherds? So this is a specific project that we worked on, and Arianna can tell you a bit more about this.
I would also like to say you can turn the camera on and speak. You don't have to put it in the chat.
yeah. Well, I think firstly, it's important to know that Prato is a textile district with a wide focus on wool. So there's a lot of processing around the topic of wool and a lot of skill and know-how around wool. Here, as a tradition, we have the wool recycling. Hi. And so that's already been present for over 150 years. It's a mechanical recycling process of post-industrial or pre or post-consumer waste. In addition to that, we have developed also more or less in parallel with these 10 years of activity, a research project on the use of local wools. So yes, we have worked with local shepherds, and we have developed some textile products using the discarded wool from the Italian milk and meat sheep, which is usually a material that is not valued in the textile industry or in any industry. It's a byproduct of the food industry. So we have just presented the outcomes of our long-term research and development at the Dutch Design Week in October. And now we are in the process of implementing all of this research on a wider scale and industrializing the process. So hopefully in the year of our anniversary, we will also manage to come out with some products made from the wool of discarded, the wool from the milk and meat sheep. This is also a goal that we have for the new year.
I put some links in the chat while Arianna was speaking. On the first one, you can see the products that we presented made with the circular wool, we're calling it. And the second one is our website on the page that is specifically dedicated to experimentation with the local wool. We have a lot of it in the lab in a variety of forms. We have yarn that we had spun, we had tops. So designers, artists, creatives of all types. Oh yeah, you can see it right there in the corner. Can come and experiment in the lab with our wool. Yeah.
Great, lovely. Thank you so much.
Do you want to also answer the next question, Arianna? What does your collaboration with universities look like? And I will get your links and post them.
Sure. So we collaborate with a lot of universities, both here in Italy, but also internationally, abroad. It has, we have different ways of collaborating. Firstly, we teach. Some of our team members teach courses at university. Secondly, we hold workshops for university students. So universities request specific workshops that we can hold here at our lab of in the most various techniques or themes. We really like to offer workshops that have a very wide range. So we also really like to make made to measure workshops. We also do guided tours in the textile district. We take groups of students and their professors to visit companies and manufacturers and to meet craft and industry people so that they can go behind the scenes. And lastly, we work with individual students, either through our various European projects where we provide them additional learning opportunities, or here in our lab when they come use the machineries and the tools to develop their personal projects. I hope I didn't forget anything because we do have a very vast network and we do get like so many visitors. Universities come to visit Lottozero a lot and we are often in touch. So it's a very lively exchange. Yes.
I posted a picture of the workshop that the from farm to fashion students of Polimoda did at Lottozero in the chat.
That was a fun one, yeah.
Okay, if we don't have any questions from the people here, we can take some more from the ones we collected.
So I'll post them in the chat as I read them out so everyone can kind of follow along. But so creative and textile work is often notoriously undervalued. What, if any, kind of financial truth did you have to accept in order to make Lottozero sustainable as a business?
There's many, but I would say the most important one is something that has to do with ourselves. So we're a social cooperative. Most of the people that work at Lottozero are also part of the cooperative. And one of the things that we all tend to do is we tend to underpay ourselves. We also tend to stretch ourselves way too thin. We definitely multitask. And I mean, it is necessary up to a certain point, but we do tend to do it a lot. So I would say that all of us have like 5 or 10 different roles that we do at the same time, which would not be happening in any other sector. I think this is normal only in the cultural and creative sector. I have to say that from the very beginning, we always try to keep our cooperative very like legal. We've always had legal contracts. We follow the Italian system of the collective contract. So we, some people may not know this, but in Italy, we don't have minimum wage, but we have collective contracts. So we always give also more than the minimum collective contract for the category. And we really try to treat ourselves, because we're also workers in our cooperative, well. So we allow ourselves to have a flexible time, smart working when we need it. But yeah, we definitely, the financial truth that we have is that we all do not make a lot of money and we all stretch ourselves very thin.
I would also add that maybe at the beginning, of course, we took on some projects that were no budgets, like passion projects. And maybe, but I don't know if that's the truth, maybe we might
I
still
love that you said at the beginning, like we don't do it anymore.
No, but we don't, because it's true that this is something that you can really evaluate at the beginning. You can see it as an investment on what projects you are willing to put in your time and basically work for free. That will give you a result that you then can be satisfied with, or that will give you some other output. And I really recommend evaluating very carefully which projects you take on that do not pay, and then phasing that out. I feel like this we were quite successful in doing. So not maintaining this, always working less and less of these projects that are not paid until you really do not do that anymore. Of course, it feels a little bit like a luxury, but it's not, because it doesn't change if you're not taking an unpaid project. So it's better to take that time that you would invest for working for free for somebody else, to work for free for yourself. So I think you need to really consider carefully how many free jobs you take and when you want to like stop doing that.
Yeah, I think which can be kind of difficult in creative industries too, because people tend to ask a lot of favors in the sake of like creativity and exchange and collaboration. So it's a delicate balance. Olivia, did you have something to say?
Hi. I am really curious to know how responsive the manufacturing industry, like local to you or further afield, has been in engaging with what you're doing. I think it's amazing, and I've worked in manufacturing and also tried to create change in textile manufacturers. So I understand how hard it is. I'm just really curious to see, well, to understand any progress or engagement that you've managed to achieve.
Well, this, of course, is one of our topics, because that is how we position ourselves within this textile district. We are really in the middle of this pool of companies. As you might know, coming from the side of manufacturing, it's very difficult for a company to be responsive, especially in these times, to a project like ours. As when they are working well, or when the company is running well, they are too busy and they don't really have time. And when they are in crisis, they are too kind of stressed out and they don't have budget. So they're always kind of in between these two stages or states. However, I feel like in small portions, we have been making progress in this, and at least companies around us are now, within these 10 years of activities, they learn to know us, they learn to understand the approach we have, which is, it's very difficult for the rather traditional Italian textile sector. So that is not at all a given that they would really know how to interact with us or how to take a benefit from collaborating with us. So we are still in the phase of kind of making this all understandable and visible as value to the companies.
Oh, sorry. No, I just wanted to add that it is for us incredible to see the progress we've made in 10 years, because when we first arrived to Prato, and we are not from Prato, which also doesn't help that much, because we, in the beginning, were seen as outsiders trying to come to the city and just starting something. And so it was, and to women, and at the time we were young. I don't know if I should say that, but so I think we've really achieved a lot of progress on certain things, especially when we approach them for collaborations and productions, much less so if we approach them from a more artistic point of view or to sponsor artistic projects. This is something that they just do not understand and they do not really have interest for. And if they do have interest, they do it internally without maybe the professional background that an organization like Lottozero could offer them. So to me, it's a little bit disappointing to see that after 10 years, they still won't lean on us for this kind of projects, more artistic, creative, I guess the fun projects. And especially both Arianna and I came back from the Netherlands, from the Dutch Design Week, and seeing how much the very few companies that are there, or bigger companies working in different fields, are willing to be experimental, to support the arts. It makes me personally a little jealous.
Thank you for sharing that. It's really interesting. My experience has been working for Scottish cashmere manufacturers who are equally traditional. So I feel your pain. But I hope that there's an increase in engagement. Thank you.
I do think, so I'm the project manager at Lottozero, and I think that there is a growing potential for engagement right now, particularly considering the changing laws and regulations regarding surrounding textiles and fashion in the European Union. A lot of the projects that we are involved with also tackle themes of upskilling and digital skills in the sustainable transition. And I think a lot of the traditional manufacturers too, they need help understanding a little bit of how to adopt things like digital product passports, and also being able to find a younger workforce that can join their companies and are armed with digital skills to be able to, be a part of that transition. So in our projects that focus a lot on upskilling and let's say education, I think there's a lot more potential recently with these changes to be able to interact more and have some genuine exchange.
Sorry, I don't want to keep asking too many questions. I'm just curious, when you said about upskilling, I was curious to know whether you ever get the design teams from the manufacturers into your space for a slightly freer, practical design experience to kind of get away from the everyday, just churning out CADs.
They come sometimes when we have some events. We see them dropping by in little groups of 3 and 4. And then they look around and they're like, it's so nice. Oh, look at this, look at that. And you can see like twinkling in their eyes. But then unfortunately they go immediately back to their studios, and again they are locked in behind the computer. And I have to say, it's understandable in their, I think it's the situation we are all facing. So we are really struggling to cut out time to do this more free research, these things that you should be doing to generate innovation, to stimulate new ideas. So yes, we see them and they see us.
Yeah, and play. Okay. That's sad. I hope it is.
I posted while we were speaking because we have 2 websites. We hide one of them quite well. The one I posted is the website where we promote, I guess, all the services that we do, where you can also see more about the work we do with the companies or for the companies or with other companies not in the textile district. So it's really just...
non ero sicura perché pensavo mi riconoscessi la macchina.
I don't think she's talking to us.
Non vedevo che c'era anche indietro.
Okay. So yeah, do we have any... Yeah.
Was there someone, or I'm gonna post another question. So what is a key moment in these last 10 years? Tessa's shaking her head because there's probably been like 20.
No, that's always the current moment. It's always the current moment where it's like, oh no.
Yeah, where you've really been like, I'm in over
Yeah.
my head.
Yeah, I think it's always the current moment where you are like, how the hell did we get here and how are we going to get out of this? And then usually you find a solution to get out of it, but usually it's just the current moment. Well, we're lucky enough to be growing. We're growing quite steadily. Obviously, we had a little bit of a slowdown with COVID. That I think is normal. But so every year we grow, and every year we grow too fast for what we can then actually do. So it always feels like, oh, next month we'll be more calm. We're never more calm. So yeah, I would say that the moment we're in over our heads is always the current moment. Currently, the one big project where I usually say we're in over our heads is residency for artists and curators that we've just launched on our social media yesterday. Unfortunately, it's only for Italian speakers under 36. Sometimes this European funding we get limits us in what we can do. I will post a link on it in the chat after. But it's a huge project. It's going to be going for 18 months. We've never worked with this kind of European funding, which is the European social funding. We will be holding a whole bunch of workshops for these artists and curators, lectures, all kinds of interesting things. Many of them also open to the public. So, thank you. So yeah, this is the current we're in over our heads. But the one just before was when we bought the TC2. So the TC2 was on our machinery dream list for many years. I think probably ever since we started. And when we met the founders of the company that creates them, that invented them in Frankfurt at a textile exhibition at the textile show of Frankfurt, the Heimtextil, we told her, oh, we wish it's on our wish list. And they answered, okay, so dream big. So we were like, okay, we'll dream big. And not even 2 years later, we had the machine, but it was also a huge project. We also applied for European locally managed European funding. And we're not out of the woods yet. We still haven't been paid back the money for that machine. So that was the last we're in over our heads moment. I don't know, Arianna, do you have different we're in over our heads moment?
I mean, my major I'm in over my head moment was planning a textile lab from scratch, having never done that before in my life, and just having to like imagine these investments that were at the time back when we started planning the lab in 2018, just enormous. So but I agree with constant being in over our heads moment, but I do think in the end that is how we propel our work forwards. We are always making a little step further and always kind of challenging what we can do, and so far so good. I think it's a good approach, and also I mean it's okay to fail as well. You don't, sometimes you are in over your head and you make a mistake because you were in over your head. That is also totally part of it, I would say.
I have a question. When you started, did you have somebody you were like looking up to, or you were able to ask for advice, like how to do this, or were you just doing it by yourself and figuring it out on the way?
Do you want to go first? Should I go first?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, of course, the one place that we always had in mind was the textile lab in Tilburg. That was just like the dream that we kind of always had in mind. But then also many other like figures and inspirations. I think we did a lot of research. Tessa was traveling a lot through Europe. I was connecting with a lot of schools and lab managers in the universities, and yeah, in the end we meshed everything together in our own formula. But I think we had a lot of people that we went to with for like suggestions or inspiration or ideas. I think that's a super important part of our work, that's always to ask for help and always look for pointers and look who is doing well and who can you look up to and get inspired by.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I was also going to say Tilburg. I think for us, Tilburg was always like, if we had all the money that they have, what would we do? And that was the idea. And I did travel a lot through Europe at the time, looking for creative spaces, shared studios in textiles, but also not in textiles. What at the time, the Fab Labs was a big thing at the time. The truth was, at the time, there was not that much. This was in 2014, 2015, and spaces like ours, they were just kind of being born. In the years where we opened, 3 other spaces opened around Europe that are kind of similar to Lottozero. I will put a link and you can see some of them in the chat. But yeah, we all were inventing as we went along. And oftentimes, yeah, you want to ask how, people for help, but nobody knows. It's the blind leading the blind. Nobody knows what they're doing. And we're kind of just inventing as we go. And I feel a lot of our projects to this very day are kind of inventing as we go. And I personally suffer a little bit from this. I would like sometimes to have a more linear, a more clear business so I could just either copy others, ask others for advice, or just know what works. Whereas when you kind of invent something and you kind of have to figure out yourself, you're really always learning by doing. And sometimes it would be nice to learn by learning. But yeah, I have to say the good thing is that we're all in this European Creative Hubs network, and we really talk to each other a lot. When we have questions, we know who to call. How do you do this? How do you do that? And it can be even the silliest things. It doesn't have to be big, complicated things. I'm dealing with this issue. How do you deal with it at your hub? And that's great. So my takeaway would be always network. Don't see other people as your competition. See them as your friends, as your community. And yeah, that's it. Oh, we don't have a lot of time left, actually.
No, but we do have a new question in the chat. So may I ask if there's a particular program you could be looking into? I'm interested in textile art factory as an artist. Okay, and I'm digital fashion designer and create my designs on a digital platform. However, I want to explore and work with real textiles. Like, are there particular things maybe that you're looking for in the artist for textile art factory?
The thing is, usually the art projects are done by our curator, Alessandra Tempesti, who's not here tonight. She's not participating in this event. But I would invite you, Ambika, to write an email to her. I will put her email in the chat, and you can just write that to her, and she will answer as soon. I think not anytime soon, like as soon, let's say early December, she will answer, because we have a big opening tomorrow and then another one next week. But as soon as she can, she will definitely get back to you. It's going to be a selection done by a selection committee. Hi, Anvika. But she will answer, so please feel free to write to her.
Okay, I would definitely do that because I have been going like through the Instagram posts and I've been curious about it. And the projects that generally I've been doing is like the digital one. So I was just curious, like, would there be anything specific requirement or let's say the experience or something that for this project you might be looking for? So I just dropped that since you mentioned about the project. But yeah, I would definitely write a email to her. Thank you so much.
But we also have a lot of open calls coming out all of the time. I would say at least every 2 or 3 months we have an open call. So just either sign up for the newsletter or follow us online. You will.
Yeah, I have been checking on those for like I think probably last 9 months in a way. So I've been seeing the projects and the one that I find interesting, I do apply on them on and off. So yeah, I have signed up for those. But thank you.
Great. There's the link. I was looking for it. Yeah, beat me to it. If nobody else has any questions, I might give you one last one to respond to so we don't go too late. But so what's the part of entrepreneurship or running your own kind of creative activity that still scares you, even after 10 years of experience in this?
Arianna, you want to go first or should I go?
You go first.
Well, for me, I mean, obviously, I'm the CEO. I'm the one trying to make the financials fit. For me, the scariest part is literally the people that depend on this job. So it's really scary to me that if something goes wrong, people will be without a job. And so that responsibility is something that weighs on me. But I'm happy, you know, I take it voluntarily, this responsibility, but it's definitely the one thing that still to this very day scares me.
Yeah, I think for me it's something similar. I mean, it's the whole factor of unknownness that we have ahead of us. So to imagine, like, will the things develop like ideally they should develop? Will they like grow in the right direction? Will the projects evolve in a good way, which pretty much coincides with being able to pay people? So yeah, this aspect of the constant unknown, it's not easy to just always feel that as part of your work. But at the same time, I know that I couldn't really imagine a different type of work. So yeah, you learn how to deal with it, and you learn how to accept it and see the good in that.
I want to add that, I mean, obviously the scary part is interesting. And if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, it's absolutely important to think about that. And even if you're becoming just an auto entrepreneur, I mean, then your well-being and your income depends on your activity. It's not when you're just necessarily when you're having other people that depend on you. So that's something that scares me. But what excites me, which is more than the things that scare me, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this, is that like mainly most of the time, any idea that I can possibly think of, I can try to make it come true. And I try to do that. So every year at Lottozero, we play a game. I call it a game called the Lottozero Lottery, which is what we would, as projects, what we would want to do if we had an unlimited amount of funds and if money wasn't a problem. And every year we have the coolest ideas. And some of them actually we actually were able to put them in action, and they were projects that we're now doing. So it also reminds me of the fact that sometimes it's not necessary to win the lottery to have and to do a cool project, but it is necessary to have the mindset that is free of that fear, the financial fear and the failing fear, because otherwise then you will not do the project. So yeah. Oh, now we have 2 questions. Oh my God, we're gonna have to go over.
Okay, I will read the first one, which is more of a technical question about the washing of rustic wool. So does the washing take place in Prato or Biella? And even if the wool comes from the meat and milk industry supply chain, do you select the farms based on a technical analysis of fleece microns?
All right, I'll just give a short answer because it's a little bit outside of the topic today, but of course
maybe we should do another event on rustic wool.
On wool. Oh yeah, definitely. So far we have washed our wool in Prato, and yes, so far we have selected the best qualities based on the micronaggio after analysis, together with a technician that we collaborate with throughout the whole process of our wool journey. So yes, and yes, those have been so far the choices.
And another question from Rita says, I understand you are based in Prato, Italy, a town that I love. Is there any time of the year you sort of open doors and people can come and visit you?
Any time of the year, every day. So we are always open from, okay, let me get this right. We're open from 9 to 1 and from 2 to 6 every day, except for Friday. On Fridays, we close at 4. We prefer people to announce themselves, drop us a quick line when they want to come, because then we can actually take some time, show them the lab. We also have art exhibitions. This is obviously just the background, but for example, this is our exhibition space. This is an exhibition we had there many years ago, but currently the next one will be opening tomorrow. So starting tomorrow, that exhibition will be on until the beginning of the new year. So we are super happy to have guests, better announced guests, but also unannounced guests we like. We will take anyone. And then same thing as for Ambika, follow us on our newsletter, on our social media. We constantly have events in the space. Tomorrow night we have an event. On the 1st of December, we have another a female entrepreneurship
Yes, I'm sending a
event.
link to that here.
Yeah. And tomorrow night we have the opening of the exhibition. Rita, you don't say where you are. Are you close to Prato? But anyway.
Hi there, hi there.
Hi, Rita.
Sorry, you can't see me, but
Don't
it's
worry.
better if you don't see me.
If
Anyway,
you're
I'm
not
in,
too far, you should come whenever you want.
yeah, okay, thank you. I'm in near Ancona, on the other side of Italy, right? But I discovered recently there is a train very early in the morning, at 4 o'clock in the morning from my town, which is called Iesi, a small town in the Marche region, down to Prato. So it's very, I'm used to getting up early, so I could get there anytime. So
We
anyway,
have one of your oops, sorry.
I've now subscribed to your newsletter,
Thanks.
right? So I will, in case I come, I will tell you before. So
Okay,
I
if you
will
want to
just.
come on the 1st of December, we're going to have an evening event. We also have one of your connationals. She's an entrepreneur who has a knitwear brand. Her name is Gaia Segattini, and she will be coming to speak at this event. She's really incredible. She's really, I will send you the link in the chat.
So I've heard about you just because I'm studying Chinese, and let's say so an aged student of Chinese. So that's why I know people in Prato and but I understand you had nothing to do with Chinese people, right?
Sometimes we just went to China in September to visit potential partners, schools there. It was great.
Okay. So I show you my face. Sorry about that. I'm just at home cooking, so sorry about that. And okay, I'm looking forward. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone that is based in Italy or around Tuscany, close to Prato, on December 1st, we're going to be having an event which is also directly connected to female entrepreneurship in fashion and textiles. It's a part of the W4Tex Project, which is what inspired this Meet the Founders event today. So it's an ideathon, and we'll have 3 female entrepreneurs from Italy who will come and talk about their business. And then each of them will present a real challenge that they are facing around sustainability and circularity themes. So teams of participants will collaborate to come up with creative solutions to their real problems. And each team will present what they've come up with, and the entrepreneurs will be the judges to pick what is their winning proposal. So the team that wins the ideathon here in Prato will be invited to come with us to Larissa, Greece, where there will be an international ideathon with the winning teams from the different European countries of our partners. So again, all about female entrepreneurship, networking, and an opportunity for women to really come together and talk about sustainability and the roles that we have in pushing it forward. So that link has been added here, and the link to the W4Tex project has been added into the chat. Here you can find free access modules for learning about managerial skills, and as well as sustainable competencies in the form of a toolkit. And this is all about women in textiles, so about the textile and fashion industries. All of the materials of this project are available for free. I think you do need to create a login account just to be able to log into the platform, but you don't have to pay for anything. It's available in multiple languages, including Italian and English, which is the main language. But if anyone is interested in exploring more of that, I encourage you to do so. I'll show you briefly the platform where you can find everything. Yeah, you can see my screen. Cool. So this is the main website of the project that we've just shared into the chat. And here you will find the Be a Manager course and the Women Think Green toolkit. So as part of the toolkit, you can find case studies and real life scenario kind of challenges that you can work through as kind of hands-on practice in resolving real sustainability challenges that the industry is facing, along with some fact sheets on topics that are popular in this world, such as like certifications for different textiles and products is one. Even things on like confusion around dry cleaning is another one. So there's a lot of interesting stuff to look through. Yeah, so check it out. We'll be continuing to share updates on the project through our newsletter and on our Instagram. So if you want to stay up to date, sign up for that. Is there any final questions before we log on? Well, we definitely encourage you all to stay in touch, reach out, continue, I guess, the conversation that we've started today. And I think we've determined that we need to have another conversation about rustic wool.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah, we will get back to you on that. So follow along.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you
so much.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
And stay in touch.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Bye. Nice evening.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao.
Ah, Penny.
Penny? Who's
Penny from one of the creative hubs. Ciao, Vera.
Is she like frozen, oder?
Ja, ausgestiegen.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Wer
tschüss.
ist Penny von den Creative Hubs?
Ich kann mich nicht mehr genau erinnern. Ich habe sie in Brüssel kennengelernt. Sie ist eine coole Type. Muss aber ein bisschen
Aber du warst
refresh my memory machen.
Hub.
So, genau weiß ich es jetzt gerade nicht mehr.
Ah, okay. Good. Okay, then bye. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Ciao, Vera, even though maybe she's gone.